Morning. Good morning. Good morning. You're here. Well, kind of, sort of. We're like, like in this weird in-between limbo where you're kind of at school and you're kind of not. I won't get to see your lovely faces in my room for, I don't know, 4 days if you count the weekend. So I won't actually see you in my classroom till Tuesday. But I do get to spend some time with you via remote learning. This is just an introduction video that's going to cover a few different topics. One, some day-to-day stuff. Two, a little bit about me. Three, the units that we're going to cover. In other words, like all the different topics from like Civil War, World War II, Constitution, all that good stuff. We're going to talk about projects in the class too, so you know what type of projects you're going to be expecting. Let's just get into it, man. Let's just get into it. The day-to-day, what you're going to do every single day-ish on remote learning is going to be relatively similar in the steps. So what you will see is I've emailed you, not just this video, but I've emailed you guys a calendar that shows you what you're going to do day-to-day for me for the first few days. I want you to understand, I'm going to make sure you guys have that information. What you're going to do day-to-day via remote learning, via the classroom. It may change. The calendar I gave you, I might drop an assignment or I might push something up closer or push something further away, but just know that I'm going to try to keep you guys informed on what you need to do every single day for this class. So on the big board here, you can't see it very well. Sorry for the glare. Can't really control it. But this is going to be color-coded just like that calendar I gave you. Anything red in that calendar is an assignment that you need to complete for me. Now, if you see the date next to it, I'll tell you the date that it is due. However, there's no date, just know it's due that day. It's due by the end of that remote day. And they're not too long assignments. The first assignment's like 6 questions long. Then you're going to see different color codes like green. Green means it's a remote day. So then you can kind of plan when the days are going to be remote. If you see blue, there's no school. Enjoy. And then black are just like things that I'm going to talk about, like lecture notes, that type of thing. Brown are Zoom meetings, and I will tell you right now, as a day-to-day, you will need to attend a Zoom meeting every single remote learning day. So every day that you're working from home, you are going to make sure you attend a Zoom meeting the same time you'd have me in class. So if you're in for first hour, you are going to log on to your Zoom meeting at 7:50. If you're in second hour, you're going to log into your Zoom meeting the same time that you would actually be in my class. The reason why you're going to do that, one, it's a kickoff to what you're doing for my class. Two, this is how I take your attendance. If you don't show up, you're not there that day. And that attendance is going to get cycled through the office. And three, it's an opportunity for you after I kick everybody off and say, hey, this is what you're doing for today, get to it. If you have any questions, you stay on the Zoom with me, and I walk you through your assignments. I walk you through whatever questions you have. The second you're done and you got the information you need, you get going. So that's the day-to-day routine when it comes to Zooms and remote learning days. When you're in the classroom, we're going to do a whole bunch of different things. And you know what? I'll just wait till you're here, and I'll tell you all about that. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the units. These are going to be the different categories, the different steps along our pathway to get through this class. So the first topic, pre-Civil War. It's not going to make you all warm and fuzzy inside. It's going to be a lot about slavery and some death. So sorry. You're going to find with history, there's a lot of that. Moving on, you'd think it gets better after we talk about, slavery and death, but it doesn't. We go to the Civil War, the most deadly war that we've ever faced, and it just kind of gets worse from there. And you're like, oh, Mr. Snow, the next topic must be great. Okay, it's Reconstruction, folks, and that's like, with KKK and sharecropping and the idea of were slaves when they were freed, were they really free? So it's not really that fun then. Then we get to Native American culture and Native American conflict. You'll have a project here. We'll talk about that later. But let's move on to the Gilded Age. The Gilded Age is, most people are like, that sounds really boring. It's not. They're lying to you. The Gilded Age is not boring. It's super important. It talks about basically how the disparity between wealth becomes a conflict in the next grouping that we'll talk about in a little bit. After that, we'll talk about immigration. And when I say immigration, I'm not just talking about immigration back in yesteryear. We're going to talk immigration from the 1800s all the way to modern day. So you get a little snapshot of what's going on today. Progressive era. If you've ever had to think of an era that is more tied to your life that you were not born in, I would suggest Progressive Era. And you're like, Mr. Snow, that was like, I don't know, early 1900s. How is that important to me? Well, good question, random student. It's important to you because this is where, like, I don't know, child labor laws came into play. So you might complain about going to school, but at least you're not working every day. Then we're going to get to World War One. Pretty intense war. We'll talk about some interesting new developments in warfare. We're also going to talk about the Christmas truce, which is my personal favorite. We're going to talk about the idea of dehumanization here. And this will actually be the last unit of the first semester. Then we get into women's suffrage. And this is the topic really talking about trying to find equal rights for women in society. This is after World War I, so ladies, it took a long time for you guys to at least get the right to vote. Then we're going to get into the 1920s. 1920s is a lot of different topics here, gang-related topics, cultural-related topics. You're going to learn the Charleston as well as other dances, and hopefully by that time we'll be able to have a 1920s party, but we'll get to that later. The Great Depression. Oh, the Great Depression. We're also going to link this to the 2008 recession so you guys understand that history. It's all connected. Next, we're going to get to World War II. A lot of people's personal favorites. Everyone knows a little bit about World War II. We're going to talk about the men and the women and part of this war and how this conflict really just shook up the world's leadership. Next, we're going to get into Cold War and civil rights. This one will probably be a short one depending on time. And then we're going to get into modern day history and also the conflict in the Middle East. But here's the most important one, the Constitution. This unit will be guaranteed to be covered in full. It will be probably the last unit that we'll cover, depending on time. And you will be taking a Constitution test later this year. It's all fun stuff. Not really. Some of it's kind of sad. But you know what? The sad stuff, the depressing stuff, the violent stuff, it's important to learn, so we're going to get into it. Projects. You will have tons of projects in this class. And the reason why, it allows me to assess, to understand, to see where you are in the education process. Do you understand it? Can you relate it to other people? You're not going to just hear this lovely voice every day. We're going to be hearing your voices too in the forms of presentations, debate, discussion, deliberation. So there will be a lot of you talking in this class. So prepare yourself for mental and verbal battles with your peers and myself. So as the projects we're going to look at, first of all, the first project you're going to get is the President's Project. You will see some information about that in the material that I sent you. Then we're going to get into the John Brown, hero or terrorist. And then we're going to get into the Civil War battle presentation. After that, we're going to get into the Mary Surratt trial. There will actually be a trial here. You'll have a Native American tribes presentation, which, by the way, some of these presentations, some of these projects, I'm going to utilize the remote learning to make sure I can actually communicate with you one-on-one. So what I'll set up what I plan to do is to set up time for some of these projects where you'll actually do the project and present over the phone with me. So I will set up time slots for each student, and then I will call you during that time slot, and then that's how you'll do your presentation over the phone. Not for all of these, for maybe like one or two of them, depending on time. After that, we're going to get into the whole bunch of different things, Monopoly project, and then we'll be done with the semester. Next semester, you're going to have quite a few papers. One of the things that you're going to learn how to do in this class is to write a well-done paper. And I'm doing this because I'm trying to get you geared for high school and beyond. And next semester, you're probably going to write anywhere from 4 to 5 smaller papers, like 2 pages long, 3 pages long at the most. And then you're going to have the big paper, which is the movie project, which will be usually in March or April. And that's going to be about 5 pages long. By the time you get there, 5 pages won't be a problem. But those are the projects that you're in store for. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Let's get at it. Finally, the syllabus. You will see in the PowerPoint that I sent you with that email, there's a portion that talks about the syllabus. And I'm only going to hit some of the major points because you're going to need to know some of the major points. For one, turning in homework. Because of COVID, I'm not going to have you guys turn in a lot of paper copies to me. Because then I have to let them sit for a number of days, and it just wouldn't be good for you guys because you wouldn't be able to get that information back right away, whether you did well on the assignment or not. So you will be emailing me your assignments. I may use Google Classroom to a certain extent, but right now what I want you guys to get used to is sending me your information via email. What you will do is on the subject line of an email is you're going to put your first and last name, the assignment's date. So if the assignment that I give you is the 21st, which you actually will have assignment for the 21st, Friday, you will put August 21st. And then maybe just the title of the assignment. So for the first assignment, you'll write down introductory questions or introduction, which would be fine. And then in the body of the email, you will answer the questions. You have 6 questions for the first assignment for Friday, so you will email me those responses, and you can do them a couple different ways. I've allowed students to just type up the answers and then send me the answers that way. I've allowed students to handwrite them, take a picture of that, send it to me. Make sure if you do that, you use pen or something that I can see that material when you send the picture, because sometimes there's a glare, and if you have pencil, you can't see it as well. But you can send a picture of the assignment that you've handwritten. You can send me it via type them up. So whatever one you guys are comfortable doing, just understand remote learning days, those assignments are due by the end of the day. So come 2 o'clock, if I don't have them, they're late. Speaking of late assignments, every day your assignment is late, it drops 10%. If your assignment is 10 days late, it is a 0. You're not getting anything for that day. It's nothing. 0. Bupkis. Nada. So make sure you guys are getting those assignments turned in. The good news is, if you have any questions, that's why I'm doing Zooms every day. Every day that's a remote day, I will have a Zoom to kick off the day, get attendance, talk about what you're doing, and then you guys are going to just kind of go at it. If you guys have questions, you stay on the Zoom, you ask me questions. There's also the idea that you're going to have multiple sources of information that are going to come to you that you can help you out with these different types of assignments. I plan on doing videos for you guys to utilize. I'm also going to give you guys the PowerPoint lectures for the individual days. So you guys are going to have the material at your fingertips to knock this thing out. Well, welcome to the class. I will be sending you guys another one of these lovely videos and emails for Monday. All this information is pertaining to Friday, the 21st. It's good to meet y'all. I hope we have a good year. Make sure you bring your masks on Tuesday, and let's just get at it. Peace out.